Welcome back. It's still Business Morning here on Channels Television. So the regulator, NAICOM, they did release the statement yesterday informing us that 43 insurance companies have scaled through the recapitalization exercise successfully. 8 submitted their requirements late, and so they're still under consideration. However, this is the new strength, the financial strength of insurance companies. So we see Nigeria's financial sector at the new capital threshold. Non-life has a threshold of 25 billion naira, life 15 billion, composite, which is like a combination of both, 40 billion, and reinsurance 75 billion. So the regulator joins us this morning. We have the Commissioner for Insurance and Chief Executive, National Insurance Commission, Mr. Olusegun Omosoyin, joins us from our Abuja studio. Congratulations, sir, on this successful recapitalization. More money now in your sector.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So 43 companies okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is indeed happy times for the insurance sector. We've never had it this good. The last recapitalization in the sector was about 20 years ago. So to a large extent, we're happy we are witnessing this. Coupled with the sort of interest we've generated from investors in the market, both in the capital market and even during private placement. So we've seen a great interest from investors and even interest from the general public. So we're quite excited as to the kind of times we're in.
Yeah. So I mean, the statements you released yesterday also informed us that there are 8 companies pending. What's the status now?
All right, so we cleared the 43 that had met the minimum capital requirement as of the deadline. However, we had a situation where a few companies, 8 of them in number, had submitted all the requirements, but because they submitted slightly before the deadline, the Commission never had the opportunity of properly reviewing a proper regulatory review of those submissions. So the position is we've given 14 days within which to clear those late, or I wouldn't say late, almost at the nick of time submissions, and then we'll be able to announce the final result of the entities that finally crossed the line. But that is to give assurance to even the investors that have put their monies or their capital into those entities, that there's nothing to worry about because the process will be finalized in the next 13 days now. We said 14 days as of yesterday, but it's actually 13 days now as from today.
Okay, 13 days. And so did we have mergers, consolidation in the process even before now, or do we expect maybe from this remaining 8?
Interesting question. We saw a slightly different scenario playing out. Even to us as regulators, we are pleasantly surprised as to the level of capital that was raised by entities in the market. At the time the recapitalization exercise was pronounced, we were hoping to see a lot of mergers, acquisitions, and what have you. But I think the insurance sector has moved to a new level where interest of investors in the sector is at its peak, really, because almost all the entities that went to the market to raise capital raised substantial amount of capital. And so we have not seen mergers in the 43 that we have cleared. Rather, what we've seen is new investors taking positions in most of these entities. We've seen situations where some of them have changed ownership by way of bigger groups taking majority position in those entities, perhaps because of their own strategy of playing bigger in the insurance sector. We've seen situations where even existing entities, investors have increased their stake in those entities. There's only one merger that is in the making, which is among the remaining 8. But we'll see how that plays out. If at the end of the exercise we're able to finalize on that. But above all, the encouraging word from us as regulators is the fact that the exercise, even as it is more than successful. It's recorded, one of its best, the first in the sector. And as regulators, we're quite happy with.
Yeah, Mr. Amosoye, I can hear the joy in your voice. Every word comes out with a smile, and I'm happy with you too. But to whom much is given, much is expected. So, what can we expect from this new money that you have?
Thank you. That's a great question, because there was an objective behind the recapitalization. This wasn't just an exercise for the sake of it. So what we expect to see from the recapitalization is to see enlarged capacity of underwriters, insurers in Nigeria. And what do I mean? We want to see insurers that are able to take on bigger risk, by so doing enable bigger projects, particularly in critical sectors like energy, manufacturing, agriculture, what have you. And these are essentially how we can create value for the Nigerian economy. What happened in this regard also is because you now have entities with, bigger balance sheets. They are then able to retain more risk locally rather than, reinsuring the bulk of them offshore. So this will, these are retention of risk domestically will then create opportunities for the Nigerian economy. More employment. They are then able also to invest some of these funds in long-term bonds and projects, that can, infrastructure projects that will help the economy. So beyond this also, we are going to be seeing, an insurance sector that could provide the economic stability that is required for an emerging economy like Nigeria. What does this mean? They'll provide the shock absorber that is required, for businesses, for households, and for investment. Particularly when we are looking at the $1 trillion economic ambition of the current government. So this needs to be protected. The necessary resilience that is required for an economy that, aspires, to be that strong and solid needs to be provided by a vibrant insurance sector. And this is what this recapitalization is providing to the Nigerian economy and to the Nigerian people.
Honestly, sir, I love the sound of infrastructure, because one can only imagine what the country loses because of inadequate developed infrastructure. And also last year we did see the NGX, the Nigerian local boss, move drastically positively because of pension funds. So I mean, if we see a lot of activity from the insurance sector in the area of infrastructure and in the market, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians would actually really appreciate that.
A strong balance sheet enables, underwriters to mobilize long-term funds, investment savings that are required to finance infrastructure. And this is the role we should be playing in the economy. Yes, have we done enough of this in the past? We should just look ahead and look at what we are creating with the reform. So part of the objectives of this reform is to ensure that insurance comes to the table, comes to the party, right? And this is what the recapitalization exercise that has just been concluded would, add to the conversation, right? Where underwriters are then able, to generate and accumulate long-term savings, which would then be invested to finance, infrastructure, with the huge gap that we have, I can assure you, these are clearly the advantages, the obvious advantages that our nation, Nigeria, will benefit from.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it. And then, I mean, also, you did mention in this process of recap, it seems a lot of investors or more Nigerians now have confidence, because if not, they won't put their funds in there, because sometimes insurance is treated as, an enemy, because mostly car owners are compelled to do the third party. So it's like you don't see people voluntarily embracing insurance in their investments or in their daily lives and everything. So I'm sure that you're working with your stakeholders to change this perception and get more Nigerians on board.
Yes, more of perception than reality. The fact that some Nigerians felt they cannot derive value, from insurance, I think is more of lack of enough education. And this is not necessarily the fault of the public. Perhaps even as a sector, we've not done enough. But to give the assurances, what a vibrant and properly regulated insurance sector will provide is the assurances that all policyholders that have invested or have taken their time to take up protection in insurance should be protected. Yes, have there been issues of lack of public confidence in the sector in the past? The answer is yes. And those are questions we are answering and we are addressing with the recapitalization. More so, we should remember that this is a sector that is properly regulated now. So the regulator is there to protect the policyholders. So we are giving the comfort and the assurances to policyholders that the insurance sector of today is where you should, where you should come to for the necessary protection. Be it your day-to-day businesses as an SME, your risk as relates to even your livelihood, your assets, and what have you. All of that are what you should seek proper protection, particularly in an inflationary environment where cost of replacement becomes, a bit difficult if the unfortunate event happens. But above all is the fact that those narratives are fast changing. And I'm today saying this openly, to all Nigerians, that look, let's know if you have a story of where insurance have not paid your claims, right? It shouldn't just be by word of mouth. Let's have those facts. And as National Insurance Commission, it is indeed our role to ensure that that is adequately taken care of. So back to the issue of, sorry.
No, go ahead, sir. Conclude your thoughts.
So back to the issue of recapitalization. So one of the key elements or advantages we want to see is for the process of claim settlement to even be faster. So we want to see faster payment of claims because entities are now better capitalized. They are more liquid. So the turnaround time should actually, be to the advantage of the Nigerian people. So we want to see shorter turnaround time for claims processing of all genuine claims, and Nigerians should be able to get the benefit of a capitalized and more reliable and stable insurance sector.
I really like the challenge you threw out there. Any Nigerian who has proof that their claim has not been paid, they can reach out. And I'm here. I'll pass the message to you, and I'll follow up. But in conclusion, Mr. Mose, looking ahead, 3 to 5 years from now, what are some indicators, some pointers that we can expect to see to show that, well, this recap did not just end with bringing money to the sector, but is actually achieving the intended objective, especially when we look at our target of $1 trillion economy?
Thank you. Well, one of the there are several indicators we could look at, but one of the key ones I'll point to. One is the penetration rate i.e., how the level of adoption of insurance in Nigeria, or the rate of, when you compare the rate of insurance adoption and you look at the contribution of insurance to our GDP, it will be a good measure. The second one also will be in terms of the performance of the sector. And that can be taken even from the investor's perspective. We would like to see how insurance will be performing at the capital market, for example. How are investors pricing insurance? Is it still a penny stock, or indeed it has moved to proper naira stock, which we are seeing? Even though we've seen movement, but we want to be very sure and certain that these are not just once in a while kind of event. We want to see that genuinely the sector has moved. But more importantly is the economic guaranteeing the stability of our nation, Nigeria. We want to see an insurance sector that can properly be positioned to provide the necessary resilience that an economy like ours requires. No nation on the planet can really prosper or be progressive if the necessary resilience that is required by the insurance sector is not there. So we want our insurance sector to really grow to that point where they can provide all the necessary support that economy in Nigeria requires. It's at that point that we will say, indeed, the recapitalization exercise has delivered its dividend. And this is very important because recapitalization on its own is not just sufficient. It's the foundation that enables us to build, the necessary blocks that can, deliver the sort of very stable and reliable insurance sector. And that we have started. And I'm happy with the progress we are making. The building blocks, are fitting in. And we are seeing a transformation project that is delivering on the set objectives. We are happy to fast track because the nation also is in a hurry to turn around our situation, and insurance is prepared to be an integral part of this. Thank you.
And we are looking forward to that impact. Thank you so much. And once again, congratulations to you, Commissioner for Insurance, Chief Executive, National Insurance Commission, Mr. Olusegun, saying congratulations and have a good day.
Thank you very much.